You know, this AFI No Doubt Supergroup thing could have turned into a variety of different names. I mean, they landed on DREAMCAR, sure, but I mean, they could have just done a mishmash of their own two band names, like No AFI or Doubt AFI, which is what I did after they released their last album. Ba-dum, what's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the debut self-titled record by DREAMCAR, which is, yes, kind of a supergroup consisting of members of AFI and No Doubt. And by members of No Doubt, I mean everybody in the band except for Gwen Stefani. I'm talking Tom, Tony, and Adrian. Then, of course, on the vocals we have the AFI Black Audio vocalist Davey Havok. And this is something that people originally thought where Davey was going to come in and replace Gwen Stefani and No Doubt, which would have been weird seeing him singing some of these songs. I'm just trying to imagine his interpretation of Just a Girl now, and that would be fun, but I don't know. They dispelled those rumors earlier this year by announcing the project DREAMCAR and releasing their debut single, Kill for Candy, a song that I definitely liked at first listen, but I just didn't have enough time to keep coming back to it. I only heard it a couple of times whenever it would come up on shuffle, and that's a shame because it really is a great song, and I'm seeing that more as I sink into this record. So what do we have here? What does it sound like? Well, as you're going to be able to tell from the first track on, it's an 80s throwback, just danceable feel. A lot of slick bass grooves to it that really stand out. I love that about it. And a different vocal approach because it does feel modern and different. It doesn't just feel like a lot of these 80s bands because it is Davey Havok on the vocals, but they're definitely paying homage to the likes of Duran Duran on this record. It is obvious that they wear those influences on their sleeves, but it doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing at all because I love the 80s, I love 80s throwbacks, and here we get kind of the perfect mishmash. It's not a perfect record, but I really do like what they came up with here. It's a lot of fun. You can see the sensibilities of relationships and nights out on the town and just a new wave influence creeping into the music. We've seen a lot of bands doing this recently, obviously, and even though the 80s fad kind of is fading out, at the same time I hate that because I do like this in place of some of the other tropes that we're falling into these days. So it's a fun album that really can get you going. Some of these songs are silly fun, like All of the Dead Girls. It's, if you look at the lyrics of it and you just give it one listen, you're gonna be like, this song is ridiculous. But it's something I feel like about being lonely, but sang with a twist. It's got a really spry instrumental on it that is probably the most upbeat on the entire record, and I love that funky, infectious feel that comes through. A lot of these bass grooves are the biggest thing that stand out here, along with those synthesizers that, yes, of course, are very throwback-esque, but at the same time, there's a few modern twists on there that really make these songs pop. I'm mesmerized by the opening track, After I Confess. The synthesizers here and the darker vocals and tone of this track is a great punch to start off this album. I like that that carries into some of these other moments and how dramatic just that one feels. It's almost just so over the top that it is paying homage, but at the same time, it's not so out there and cheesy that you can't enjoy it. There's an energetic and peppy bounce to some of my favorite cuts like The Preferred, which is one that I keep looping over and over again. I love the refrain, boys will be boys, and it's just kind of got that club feel from those throwback moments. I love that. And then on another one of my huge favorites here, On the Charts, I like kind of the spoken word thing and almost like a slap bass feel. I'm not sure if it actually is a slap bass, but he really is all over the place. It almost reminds me of Fleas playing like on Higher Ground by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. On the Charts really just takes over you with a wave of catchiness. I love that. You just sink into the feeling of the song, the kind of spoken word thing he's doing for a while during the verses. I love how there's just like a wave of catchiness that overtakes you and draws you into On the Charts. It's kind of like the spoken word thing like I was saying during the verses, and that uber catchy hook that just gets stuck in your head and you'll sing it over and over and over again. I love what they've done here. They've built up a ton of songs like that. Kill for Candy is another one, the lead single from this project, that I think is fantastic. It's something where he uses a lot of classic AFI lyricism here, and he does stray from that for the most part, I would say, even though he writes from kind of the same vantage point, obviously drawing from relationships a lot of the time and things gone sour and just some of the commentary on things that he sees in his life. but he almost writes it from a different tone, and a lot of it almost seems kind of sarcastic, and I like that. Kill for Candy comes through with a new wave feel. Once again, the guitars are kind of supercharged on this one. It's earwormy, it's sweet, and it goes down smooth. I'm sure you're wondering exactly where these projects line up, like how are they influenced by the other two bands that they're a part of? And I would say obviously for No Doubt's members that some of the bass lines, some of the guitar tones do feel akin, although most of it is pretty different, but for the most part, especially on the bass, you know who's playing. But with the AFI thing, I would say that the track The Assailant is the one where I most notably can see that, yeah, this sounds more like an AFI song than it does a side project. Maybe Davey had been sitting on these lyrics for a while, maybe not, but that's just something that I'm hearing personally, especially whenever he sings lines like, "Oh darling, can't you see," right in the pre-chorus of that track. It just really is something that does kind of blend in with AFI mode. Towards the end of this record, I started losing interest a bit because of some of the lyrical moments here, like Do Nothing. I like the song musically, but once we get to the chorus, he's just saying, you know, you do absolutely nothing for me, and I don't feel moved by this track. I don't feel stirred, and it does feel a bit stale and stagnant with the whole 80s throwback sensibilities. And Don't Let Me Love is another one that falls into that as well. Show Me Mercy is kind of a redeeming moment right at the end of the record that I do think sends off on a positive note. I'm getting much better vibes from that one than some of the preceding tracks here that just kind of like hit middle of the road, don't really do a ton for me. Some like Ever Lonely as well. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of every single song here, but for the most part, this album really just nails that vibe that it was going for. I don't think it's something that's always going to stay on repeat, but I could definitely keep coming back to this record and have fun with it. I'm gonna go with a strong 3.5 out of 5 for DREAMCAR's debut album. It definitely surprised me considering I didn't really have much expectation for it, but who knows, if they continue with this project, then they could maybe make a great second album, or if No Doubt or AFI decide they want to put out something again, cool, awesome. Let me know your thoughts on DREAMCAR in the comment section down below, and leave a like on this video to let me know that you want to see more reviews like this for bands that aren't as huge. You can find me on social media at the links in the description, and a couple of recent videos that I did on the channel. You can click those annotations right here. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.